Okay, what's going on? Welcome to EJ's Space and Rocket Review. Space and Rocket Review. You two girls, tell your friends. It is February 5th, 2026. And I'm your host, EJ. Hello. How's everybody doing over on YouTube, in the YouTube world? Everybody good? Good, great, grand, wonderful. I got a couple of links here. And I got a couple of things to discuss for the Space and Rocket Review, and we'll see where it takes us. You two girls like to, it's cerebral, it's a quote from Blues Brothers, but it's fine, whatever. All right, so first thing that we're going to talk about here on Space News is this. Take a look. This is on next space flight. And I need my camera up. This is on next space flight here. If you look, the queue is pretty much empty. The reason why is because Falcon 9 is actually grounded right now. Falcon 9 is grounded after the Starlink 6-101 mission, where they it did launch, payload was deployed, everything looked good, first stage landed. And they went to do the deorbit burn with the second stage, the disposal burn, and it didn't do it. And the stage ended up passivating itself and is in a decaying orbit. It'll eventually come back down, but yeah, Falcon 9 for the meantime is grounded. Now, do I think it's going to take very long for it to start flying again? No. There is a Starlink scheduled for Saturday at noontime. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if that sticks. But other than that, guys, yeah, this has been the driest week for launches in a long time. That doesn't mean that stuff isn't happening on the ground, though. This has happened before. They've had a couple of second stage thingamajigs happen from time to time. But, yeah, nothing that's, it was quickly solved. Falcon 9, it's really easy for them to figure out what's wrong with Falcon 9 because of the tremendous amount of launches that they've done with it. Now, if I click on the Starlink 1733 mission going out of Vandenberg, the schedule to go to Vandenberg on Saturday, take a look here. 598th mission, 15th mission of this year. They have 597 other Falcon 9 flights to compare it to. So it'll be really, really easy to figure out what's wrong, if at all. So yeah, it'll probably be okay. They'll probably have it figured out pretty quickly. It re-entered within hours, I believe. Yeah, I think it's already down, Maron, yeah. I think NASA wants a flight before the Crew 12 flight. I would guess probably, yeah. It didn't do what they expected, so it paused. So they paused to see why. Yep, and that's just doing your due diligence. This is the kind of stuff that keeps Falcon 9 flying reliably, as weird as that sounds. You know, sometimes it's good to pause, even though physics made it do it for you. But yeah. So yeah, we're kind of in a little bit of a dry spell this week. It's, yeah, the driest. Dude, there were more launches between Christmas and New Year's than there was this week. There is a Soyuz 21B going off out of Plesetsk in about 4 hours, but who cares? It's not being streamed anyway, so. I bet they're doing more than pausing. Well, yeah. Of course. I mean, yeah, well, yeah, of course, digital. They're probably trying to figure out what the heck's wrong with this thing and going from there. Now, speaking of Falcon 9, dudes, here, I'm going to load up Space Coast Live here. This is from my buddies over at NSF. Now, if you look at Space Coast Live, hi chat, bye chat. If you look at Space Coast Live, you can see the fleet cam over here. That's at Port Canaveral. And then we got a camera from the press site that's looking at SLS, who recently basically didn't complete a wet dress rehearsal, and that launch got moved out to March, which is... And then if you look over here, there's a crane setup that is attached to the crew access arm at Launch Complex 39. It looks like they're going to take it off. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure why they're doing that. I'm sure I could get that information, but I don't want to. I like kind of sitting here and hypothesizing about it. So they are taking it off. Now, we do know that 39...
Go at throttle up.
39A, for the most part, we have heard from SpaceX that 39A is basically only for Falcon Heavy at this point. All Crew Dragon and just Dragon operations will use Space Launch Complex 40 at this point forward. 39A will just be used for Falcon Heavy at this time. And SpaceX does have a little bit of a backlog of Falcon Heavy stuff to fly. There should be 4 missions this year. 4 missions. That's pretty good. That's a lot. Hey, Predominant, what's up, man? Space and Rocket Review. You have a kidney stone, Nader. Oh, geez, I'm sorry. You don't get to feel about SLS. You cursed it by all you talk about not launching on the Super Bowl. Yeah, I kind of did. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. Spoiled. I remember that Falcon Heavy damages the access arm, so they're removing it. You remember reading that? Yeah, that might be it. If the crew arm is coming off, is there any reason to keep the tower? Well, Comus, that's the thing. If they're only taking the crew access arm off, I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's probably only temporarily coming off. Now, if they take that crew access arm off and then they start dismantling the fixed service structure, then we got a problem. Then, yeah, I don't think it's going back, right? It really kind of depends on what we see. Are they going to dismantle the rest of the service structure? Who knows? We'll see. Yeah, Ethan, that's really what I'm trying to figure out. Because I'll admit, guys, them taking off the crew access arm is, for the first time that I've seen, it's actually narrowing Falcon 9's capability and not expanding it. Which is very strange. But there is other paraphernalia here on the service structure, like the slide wire baskets, right? If we start seeing them take those down after they take the crew arm down, then we gotta, yeah, that's crazy. Because that means that SpaceX thinks that they can run Dragon in crew operations entirely out of Slick 40, which is fine. You know, if that's the way it's got to be, that's the way it's got to be. I don't know. Maybe they'll put it back up. Maybe they won't. Now, I'm pretty sure that they're only, we know for a fact that they're only doing Falcon Heavies out of 39A, which kind of does suck to not see crew launch from there, but hey, it is what it is. You want to know what the crazy thing is? Like, I can only count on one hand the number of times that crew has not launched to space from Kennedy Space Center, basically in the past 50 years. Think about that for a second. So basically, since the start of the shuttle program, every crewed launch has gone, all 135 shuttle missions went out of Kennedy Space Center, right? And DM2, Crew 1, Crew 2, Crew 3, Crew 4, Crew 5, Crew 6, Crew 7, Crew 8, all went out of 39A. Crew 9 went out of Slick 40, interestingly enough. So, Crew 9, the Crew 9 launch, and Starliner 1, I think, are like the only missions that have launched people into space not out of Pad 4, not out of Kennedy Space Center since the start of the shuttle program. Are they getting rid of 39A altogether? Oh, no. No, They're retooling it for Falcon Heavy. The reason why they're retooling it for Falcon, like they're configuring 39A only for Falcon Heavy, Geek. The reason why they're doing that is so the pad, believe it or not, it's so the pad, so they could do work on it. Now that work isn't necessarily, give me 1 second. That work isn't necessarily like retooling the pad proper here. I'll show you. Now, keep in mind, these are older pictures, right? But if you look at 39A, now, like I said, these pictures are super old. They are the entire right half, like the entire eastern half of 39A is all Starship right now. And they're keeping launches low from here with only Falcon Heavy. So because there's only 4 of them this year, they're doing that so they can keep going with Starship. Now we do know that from the 39A EIS, we know that they want to build a catch tower down here. So a tower that's just designed to for dedicated receiving of Starship, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, it's a big one, goalie.
Discovery.
Yeah, so there's already, I'd say probably about a 70 to 80% completed Starship pad at 39A. It's only over here. And if you look, the crew access arm is right there. That's what they're taking off. And then they're reconfiguring this for Falcon Heavy because Falcon Heavy doesn't fly very often. So, I don't know. Like, is the crew access arm the beginning of the end for Falcon? Like, I think that's a pertinent question to ask. You know, like this is the first time in a long time where we've seen a reduction. In fact, it's like the only time we've seen a reduction in Falcon 9 capability. It's always been expansion. But the other thing to think about is that Slick 6 out at Vandenberg, Space Launch Complex 6, which is an ex-Space Shuttle and Delta IV Heavy pad. Yes, Space Shuttle, they never launched from it. I don't want to talk about it. It's bad. They are expanding Falcon's capabilities out there. Slick 6 is going to be a Falcon Heavy launch pad. And now, I can't help but think where my mind is at is like, okay, you're ramping down operations at 39A. You're just keeping it for Falcon Heavy because of the infrequency of flight. When SpaceX gets Slick 6 up and running with Falcon Heavy, are they going to remove Falcon from 39A completely? I think that's an interesting question to ask. That's the wrong crane to take that tower down, unless it gets cut into small pieces like what you did with the rotating service structure. Oh, interesting. Forgive my ignorance on this, but what is the consumer ops appeal to using Falcon Heavy versus Starship? Macintosh, it mostly has to do with Falcon Heavy flies, and Starship does not fly operational missions right now. It has a lot to do with that. And keep in mind, this is a backlog. So these missions are either from the government, which probably is not going to want Starship. Falcon Heavy is proven, right? And when a lot of these backlog contracts were signed, it was before Starship was even a thing, you know? How long was SpaceX's lease for 39A? 20 years? 20-year lease, I think, Buck? 20 years, I think. Once Starship is up and running reliably, I'm guessing Falcon Heavy is done. Probably Falcon. Yeah, Falcon Heavy first, and then Falcon will see its way out eventually. Read my last message when you get the chance. Okay. Do you think LC-39 will eventually end up having 2 or 3 Starship launch pads? Yes. Do I want a Starship launch pad up on the raised section? Absolutely. Will it look kind of weird? Mm-hmm. Has anyone from NSF looked up construction permits for the area? Construction permits are public knowledge. We know they're building landing pads at 39A, interestingly enough. But yeah. I thought SpaceX wanted Dragon launch pad redundant capability. Yeah, which, Andrew, that's why that doesn't make any sense. I'm starting to think that maybe they're just upgrading the CAA or doing something else to it. I don't think they're taking it down permanently. I think maybe they're just repairing it or something. I mean, everybody was saying that, oh, they're taking it down, but like now that I'm thinking about it, do we know that for sure? How do these lease renewal works? It's with the government. I don't know what the details of the lease are. SpaceX is still investing a massive amount of money into 39A. Once the lease is up, do they just get an auto renewal? I think so, yeah. Do you mind reading your last message? Okay. Question, did they build Slick 40's fixed service structure because NASA wanted another possible crew pad just in case something happens to LC-39A? Well, that's the big question here. Yeah, having two pads is better, but maybe Falcon 9 with Dragon has proved its worth. Maybe it proves reliable. Who knows? That crane that is sitting on the pad right now is a Liebherr 1400. Okay. The new landing zone at Slick 40 is ready, is it not? Think Next Spaceflight says it's a RTLS to LZ40. Yeah? Let me see. What's the next one? Crew 12. Oh, damn. Crew 12, which is flying in a week, is a RTLS at LZ40. It's going to land on the landing pad. First time for landing on the landing pad. SpaceX has also built a new Falcon 9 landing facility that's just on the perimeter of Pad 40. Interesting. Interesting. That's pretty cool, actually. Pretty neat. Is it Wednesday at 6 a.m.? No, it's not at 6. It's at 6 a.m. Oh. Balls. Huh. Okay. That means astronaut rollout is... Oh, dear. Astronaut rollout is going to be at, like, 2 in the morning. Yeah, Iron. Something tells me that they're just working on that arm and they're not going to pull it off. Based off of what you said and what I hear. So... Don't forget all the plan holds. No, Macintosh. That's the other rocket. Don't worry about that. So this is coming from Ryan over at Spaceflight Enthusiast from NASA Spaceflight Now. He asked SpaceX's Lee Echard if there was any more information on the quiet cadence from 39A. We're planning to launch most of our Falcon 9s from Slick 40. This includes all Dragon missions going forward. Yeah, that was from the 30th. I remember. Yeah, guys, they're doing some serious work out there at that pad. That Starship pad, I would say the pad at 39A is probably, I don't know, what did you guys say, 70, 80% done? It's pretty close. It's not as far along as the one at Boca Chica, but it's pretty 85% of the way there, goalie. That's pretty good, man. It moves about 23 minutes earlier each day if it doesn't launch on Wednesday. Damn you, orbital mechanics. So yeah, I mean, side note, guys, I'll be here for Crew 12. We'll cover it. It'll be awesome. Actually, maybe we should do that for NSF. Can Falcon Heavy still do dual booster RTLS now that they don't have 2 landing pads anymore? They can still use, Nikki, they could still use landing zone 2. Can't use LZ1. They could still do it. So one Falcon Heavy could land at LZ2 and the other one can land at LZ40. Yeah, you can do the dual RTLS. They still have access to the second pad, or the second landing zone.
Go at throttle up.
Here's to a safe and on schedule next launch of Starship. Yeah, baby. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, actually, if you guys want to talk about that now, Booster 19 did a cryo test last night. It definitely did. Here, let me see if I can get you guys a picture. The yeah, here's a time lapse from my buddy Elisar. Yeah, see, the booster 19 went through a full cryo. Look at that. Look at that. And you can see the drone shining the light on there. They were looking at it. Dude, it looks good. It looks good, man. Yeah, not bad. Full cryo for a long time. Yeah, absolutely. And yep, there you can see they started detanking, depress vents. Does anybody remember what booster was going to the Cape? I think he said 21. I think. I thought they might be upgrading the 39A CAA to the one at 40. Yeah, yeah, Rares. That's what I'm thinking. The more I think about what's going on with that crew access arm, I don't think it's the end of Pad 39A for crew launches. I think that whatever it is, they're either going to take it down, fix it, or put another one on or something. I don't. It doesn't make any sense to descope Falcon 9's capability at this point. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So I don't think that's what they're doing. What is the red flashing light? Let me see. It looks like it's... somebody's doing work out there or something. Notice the difference at the common dome. Very little space. Yeah, exactly. Look at that. Man, that thing is a monster. Yeah, the beacon from the cell phone tower at Massey's, Martin, that makes sense. Since SLS, New Glenn, and Starship are said to be launching in or around March, could they, in theory, all launch in the same week? It's possible. That's going to be chaos? Oh, yeah. Yep, and they didn't pop anything, so that's good. Really good. Real good. So, you know, while we're on the subject of Starship news, guys, here, check this out. So this picture is coming from RGV Aerial, but per a draft assessment here that was released, SpaceX is basically doubling the size of the pads, the pad facility at Boca Chica. Yeah. So this picture from RGV is kind of showing what it is right now, and that's showing what it's going to be, which is that's a lot. That's a lot of space. Yeah, they are grading it right now. This is coming from Amy Doring. I don't know Amy, but yeah, Creepers linked me up this picture. But yeah, they've started grading out the wetland area, and they're gonna start building, which is that, dude. I mean, look at that freaking picture. That's a lot of extra space. And per the plans here, let's take a look. What do they got? If you look at Starbase Live right now, you could see the work going on. Oh. Here, we'll switch from Space Coast Live to Starbase Live. Boop. Boop. Yeah, they're definitely out there. Dude, that pad is looking real good. Second pad's almost ready to go. I think it's only a matter of time before we see Ship 39 roll. So once again, that's a live shot from our buddies over at NASA Spaceflight. This is called Starbase Live. You can go to YouTube and search Starbase Live. This will pop up. It's a poop truck. Poop truck! It's a 24/7 live stream of what's going on at Boca Chica. It's not a poop truck. Damn. It's not a poop truck. It looks like one, though. I don't know what that is, to be honest with you. It has a do not dig around it and a holding tank. And then there's some type of impeller system. That's a water truck? Your assessment was pretty crappy. Well, your assessment was pretty Cybertruck. My assessment may be crappy, but your assessment was pretty Cybertruck. Boom. Now what? It's a pump truck for groundwater? Yeah. Wow. So here, let's look at these plans real quick. Sorry, Maslin. That cut deep. Yeah, I know. So they're going to wall off everything. And it looks like they're putting in the capability for methane generation. Now, we know that the air separator, SpaceX put this roundabout in here, right? They put that roundabout in there, and they have the air separator for liquid oxygen generation over there. And then it looks like they're going to have a dedicated gate for rolling Starships in right here. And then there's the staging area for there's pad 1 staging right there, pad 1 loading area. And then they're going to have another gate over there for staging and loading for pad 2. Does this expansion limit beach access? I don't think it limits beach access, but also I know that all that's SpaceX property. The dunes are they own those. They don't own the beach though. Nah, nobody owns the beach, right? What if a lady trips and falls on your part of the beach? Nobody owns the water. It's God's water. What if she trips and falls? She could sue me. Yeah, they do own Danger Dune, Geek. We're not allowed to set up there permanently because it's their property. And they don't own the beach because the beach is Texas state land. So, does the expansion limit beach access? I actually don't know. I'd have to ask somebody that's down there. I'd have to ask Caesar or somebody. They're going to wall off this, yeah. If you look, guys, there's a security wall that's going all the way around it. Because they don't want people messing around there. Now, a couple of interesting things. Deflector Farm. It's an awesome name. So it looks like they're going to redo the water systems here. But see, I wonder what isolation and purging is about. What do you think that's about, dudes? I think that Deflector Farm, yeah. Maybe that's for safing incoming vehicles and stuff. Oh, it's just the nitrogen farm? Ah, that's not nearly as cool. But yeah, still neat. In case you didn't know, the Hex in the Hex and tank farm expansion stands for heat exchanger. So pad 1 and 2 will have separate pump farms. Yeah, that's pad pneumatics there. Ground support equipment. That's their power input. That's where the electrical connects in. Electrical and data is over there. Each pad needs a dedicated system. Yeah, I was able to put that together. What is a deflector farm? So Pandalope, that's for this thing right here. When when Starship is going to lift off, dude, there's a huge flame bucket down here. And you got to run water through it or else it'll melt. Because what comes out of the bottom of Starship is hot. Hot. You know? Hot. They call me Dr. Love. Call me Dr. No, all right. Hot. Liquid hot magma. So, charger. The water storage is for the high pressure systems that are going to feed water into this thing to make sure the pad is reusable as well. I hope the wall does not block the NSF cameras. I don't think it will. Guys, Starship is gigantic. It's not like you're not going to be able to see what's going on in the pad. Unless they make the wall like 50 or 60 feet high. I wouldn't build any wall in front of this thing. A lot of flames is going to come out of here in the next couple of months. Particularly like right in this area here. I can't wait to see the air separation tower get smacked by the plume of pad 1. Yeah, that's what those cranes are over there doing. That's the ASU. You can see it just back there. Actually, that camera, it looks like North is looking at them right now. But yeah, that's a huge, huge expansion. Once again, there's a picture from RGV. That's doubling the size of this thing. Which is big. I mean, dudes, you know what the crazy thing is? I was down there about a year ago at this time. How long until pad 2 is done? I'd say pad 2 is probably 90% of the way there. Alex? Probably more than that. Hey, Pat, what's going on? Got any ideas on the Massey structure? I think it's for testing, refueling, and refilling and stuff, Dynasty, but I don't know for sure. Have you seen that they are at Raptor 3 serial number 100? You're going to need a lot of Raptors, dude. I'll note 2 areas for LNG liquefaction, one for each pad. So the separate LCH4 area seems to be liquid CH4 outside of the normal supply chain. Bets on it being a Sabatier reactor test area for them to build experience. Well, this is for generation. Those are for liquefaction. I'm not sure if that's what's going on, but it could be. Also, why, oh why is this like trapezoidal shape? You couldn't you make this kind of square? Why is it like that? Stop it. Just make it a square. Why is it gotta be all weird? Gotta be all weird shapes, man. Yeah, right, Geek? It's ridiculous. It's like, look, it's ridiculous. It's all hinky. It has no meaning. Did you see Booster 20 got into Mega Bay 1? How long for the thing to be put together and roll out? Dynasty, how many sections have rolled into Mega Bay 1? If it was just one section, I don't know, give it a couple of weeks. LCH4 reads as liquid methane to me. Wouldn't need to liquefy a liquid. First section rolled last night. 2 weeks. I'd say 2 weeks. Yeah, I'd say that's about right. Gotta love the environmental people. Yep. God, I said it once, I'll say it again on stream, you god dang hippies. The current theory for the Massey structure have to do with catching the come on, brain. Has to do with testing the catch points on the ship, pulling up on the catch pins. Interesting. They're only allowed so much land. Ravshan, 2 weeks is crazy. You were dead on last time, though. Ravshan, I'm not... Okay, so for what it's worth, dudes, I'm not pulling 2 weeks for the booster out of my tail. All right? Look. Booster 19 came together in 4. All right? Booster 18 came together... Booster 18 was about 2 months. Booster 19 was about 1 month. We know that they need to ramp up. Guys, like... Look, SpaceX needs to launch more Starships. Not for our amusement. All right? They have a lunar mission to do in 2028. In spaceflight timelines, 2028 is tomorrow. That's tomorrow. You got to get that done. It has to get done fast, man. Like, so SpaceX is not like, they know this. They're not stupid, right? Like, you know, they got some pretty freaking smart people running that company. There's no way they don't understand this, right? I've always said that 2028 is going to be kind of the inflection point for Starship. That's when Starship's really going to reach full operational capability, even with my optimistic timelines. Now, like I said, I really think that Booster 20 is going to take a lot less time. The reason why is because I mean, guys, we've seen here and there, you know, like the Mr. Beast video, and then Jensen Huang did a video for NVIDIA in Starbase at one point. We've seen the interior of that. What do you see? You see tons of rings. You see tons of nose cones. Tons of Starship flaps being worked on, right? We're seeing tons of stuff, but we don't see any rockets being made, which tells me that they already staged all this stuff and they're getting ready to proverbially ramp up their rocket assembly line. So it only makes sense that they're going to, that booster production time will go down. I really think like 2 weeks, dude. Yeah, probably 2 weeks. Because if they're rolling one piece to Mega Bay 1, okay, so think about it like this. They're rolling the aft section to Mega Bay 1. That doesn't mean the aft section is finished, and then the mid sections and the common dome and the hot staging ring aren't finished. Those are different production lines at Star Factory. We know this. That tells me that they're going to roll because they're ready to stack. And that's how I knew. That right there is how I knew that Booster 19 was going to get done from Christmas. Just some reasonable logic extrapolation, right? I think they're waiting for the Gigabay. I think Gigabay will truly increase the production throughput, Sea Kraken. I believe the Megabays are hampering them at this time. Gigabay will be built. It's probably going to be a little bit before that thing is finished. You know, it's not just building the structure, it's cladding the structure. It's, you know, making sure it's a clean room environment. Well, not a clean room environment, but they will be building in a relatively clean area. Oh, we got a render from Chrome Kiwi. Chrome's my boy, dude. That guy's awesome. Love that dude. What do we got? The chopstick test simulator seen in a post from Starship Gazer moved from storage to Massey's, and the pair are now sitting close to the new static fire stand. What appears to be hydraulic lines were added to these beams and match two feed lines on top of each side of the new frame. We know SpaceX is putting things in close vicinity to each other if they intend to be used together. I'm thinking this might be a new lift landing pin test frame. That was my thought. Total weight of the ship could be applied using rams to check for deformation or structural loads. How it could be suspended is what I'm missing. Cranes. Late 2026 completion for both gigabays based on the paperwork. I'd say that's right, Phil. Yeah, I would say that's about correct. So, but you guys know SpaceX. They're going to say, we have to increase the flight rate. I think the flight rate, like, here's the thing. Okay, so, once again, 2028, guys. 2028 is, they're ideally hoping for Starship in 2027 for Artemis 3, right? Ideally. 2028 would be good, right? They're hoping for 2027. All right, 2027 is 10 months away. Think about it like that. That's what I mean about 2028 not being that far away in spaceflight timelines. It's not that far. That's not that far away. You got to be careful. So, the gigabays aren't going to be finished till the end of the year. Do you think they're not going to fly? No. Even when they were going to fly Block 2 and they knew they knew it wasn't the best design with all the stupid mitigations on it, they still were sending them almost to the tune of once every 2 months. You know, Flight 7 and 8 were January, February. Flight 9 was in June, I believe. Flight 10 was August. And then Flight 11 was towards the end of the year. October. So how many Starship flights is that? So that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 5 flights in last year. Look, you got to ramp up. They have to test fueling. They have to test on orbit. They have to test payload deployment. They have to test ship catching. They have to test tower catching. They have to test ship reentry. Make sure that all works correctly, right? Dude, even if they got all that on one mission, you're probably not going to get all of it in one shot fully successful, right? They're certainly not going to do a ship catch on the first try, right? So 39, 40, ship 39, ship 40, ship 41, ship 42, 43, right? Like 5 starships. That, you know, one to test the Block 3 design up on orbit, or up on its suborbital trajectory. The next one to get into orbit. Another one to up there. Another one to test refueling. And then maybe a ship catch, right? That is going to require, well, actually the first thing that popped into my mind is that's going to require 2 pads. 39A, breakover device, barge, that all makes more sense. With a brand new vehicle. The point is that they ain't waiting until 2026. They're not going to wait until 2026 to start ramping. They got to ramp now. So work with what you got. And unfortunately, I think the Mega Bay is really a constriction on production here. I really only think they can have like maybe 1 or 2 boosters in the pipeline here. So, guys, I'm thinking, I don't know. You know, you don't want, they did 5 launches last year with Block 2, right? I would say that SpaceX is probably shooting for double that this year, but man, is that going to be tough. That's a hard goal to hit. SpaceX really got to cook, man. They really got to cook. I'm almost like, ooh, okay. What's this render from Chrome? Update on the strange static fire stand. 2 red frames have now been added underneath the yellow ones. A prefabricated walkway with kick rails can be seen. I'm thinking this will span both of these 2 smaller ones with angles on each end. Will meet the cages and the ship has room in between. So red installed, green is speculation for now. Thanks to RGV for the pictures. That's why Booster 18 blowing up was a problem. The pipeline stalled. Yeah, they really got to cook, man. Oh, here's the reason for that damn hexagon shape. Oh, that's just how it's zoned. Oh, Mutter. Ah. That's just how she's zoned, dude. Okay, let's give a worst case. Say we nuke 39A pad on the first attempt of a launch. Can Boca support a lunar launch at that location? I would, if that was the case, goalie, I'd be really working hard on 37, Slick 37's pads, and I'd be working hard on the second pad here. It's the keystone. Yep. 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 Red is SpaceX. The rest is Texas Parks and Wildlife. Interesting. You can blame the person who laid out all these plots way back in the day. Well, what did the original zoning for this area look like before they built a launch pad here? I'm guessing this is probably leftover aggregate from you know, what looked to be okay zoning. Which plots are NSF? NSF doesn't have any plots in this picture. Click 37 is supposed to be done in 2027. Yeah, I hope so, Trey. Yeah, SpaceX is really... Yeah, Booster 18 popping was really bad. That's really not good. They really got to go. Oh, nice. Dude, you can see the dozers. You can see the dozers doing the leveling work on the pad. Yeah, those are the dunes, Geek. I've walked around in those. I think they really have to crack down on QC. We can't be playing peekaboo with COPVs. I agree with you. Yeah, I said that right when Booster 18 popped, Ari. Ah, I'm with you. SpaceX can't dick around. No more games. You really got to do work. You got to make every one of these freaking flights count. What do we got there? A D9? Nah, that doesn't look like a D9. It's definitely a Caterpillar, though. Those guys are grading. They're using the bulldozer for grading because that's what bulldozers are for. Maybe we should send this picture to the guys that make roadcraft and see that. That should be in your game if your game's about building roads, because you need one of those to build a road, because that's how we build roads. Still pissed off about that, but hey, whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Nah, that's not a D9. It's too small. He's got a ripper on the back, though. Homeboy's got a ripper out back. Check DMs. I sent you something relevante. Yeah, it's just how the lots go. Yeah, guys, look. That's just... That trapezoid shape right there was just how it was zoned around the streets that should be there. I get it. Yep. Hey, come back. Oh. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. I want to see those bulldozing fellas on the moon and Mars. Yep. Yep. They really need to make a ship with a complete heat shield. Agreed. They have tower segments basically ready to go for 37. 37 is just grading. Now, see that guy? Actually, now looking at it at this angle, I don't think it's a D9. I think that's a D8 or something. I don't know what that one is over there. That may be a Komatsu or something. Those are pretty big honking bulldozers, though. Freaking sick, dude. Look at that thing. Look at how much dirt that thing is moving. That's awesome. Freaking love bulldozers. Yeah. I got you, Aqualex. Yep. Would you just look at it? Dude, he's got a dual blade ripper on the back. That thing's sick. Mega Bay 1 and Mega Bay 2 have 3 workstations. Mega Bay 1 has 2 turntables for welding. Both are used during production of 1 booster. Mega Bay 2 has 1 turntable, so you can only have 4 vehicles per bay, 1 in production. Yeah, Caden, exactly. The Mega Bays are the bottleneck, dude. Can you believe that? Those are not small buildings. They should build houses right beside Pad 2's flame trench. You think they'd give them flood insurance? That might be in the floodplain. First tower construction at 37 began at the start of last week. Crazy. Bulldozers on the moon. Have you heard of Interloon? This morning we announced details about NASA Small Business Technology Transfer Phase 1 contract to advertise our expertise in high-volume continuous excavation to support lunar resource extraction and Artemis moon base construction. Well, that's pretty neat. How neat is that? That's cool, man. They need to paint Pad 2. It'll look so much better. Yeah. Yeah, I see it, Aqualex. I got you. I got you, man. You won't see a tower section move for a few months. It's going to be at least end of Q3 for them to, okay. Can you imagine the number of piles they'll have to drill and the amount of geotechs they need in a wetlands area? I mean, yeah, Knucklehead, these guys are grading. I wouldn't be surprised if they had somebody scraping all that topsoil off of there. Because the whole pad facility is going to need to be on raised terrain. See how there's like a berm going up to like deck level right there? You're going to have to bring in tons of dirt, and you're going to have to let that dirt settle. But you might not have to do it as much if you scrape the topsoil. They are in wetlands right here. Now, you can build on wetlands, but you got to make sure you know what you're doing when you do it. You can't just go and build something in a swamp. They said you couldn't build a castle in a swamp, but I did it anyway. It fell into the swamp. SpaceX been awarded a Golden Dome contract. What Rare said is right, Ari. Technically, Starshield is part of the Golden Dome. It's part of the Golden Dome backend. They just started work on making ICBM road wider and stronger. What about the curtains? No, not the curtains. One day, son, this will all be yours. Oh, what, the curtains? No, not the curtains. Pick me, pick me. Ah, yeah, that's the cracker. There you go. Yeah, you got to get rid of that topsoil, which is wondering why. I'm wondering if that's what those bulldozers are actually doing. If you notice, like, look, you can't see the bottoms of the dozers. They're clearly scraping topsoil off. You're trying to get down to fill dirt. You basically get rid of all the wet sand off of here. You don't want to build on wet sand. That's, if water gets it turns into quicksand, and whatever's on top of it falls into it. It is Tishy, yeah. What is your prediction for depot design? For Starship Depot? How big do you think it will be? I think the depot will probably end up being as big as a Super Heavy, and it'll look completely ridiculous. That sand goes down for meters. Yeah, I know. But you got to remember, Spoiled, they're compacting it too. You could scrape off the topsoil and then compact on top of that. You might be able to get away with it that way. Any hope for City Skylines 2 future? No. Easymoto, with Cities 2, it's very much wait and see. I've heard good things from the new developer. I heard that he has good dreams for the game and a good idea what they want to do. That's fine. Good. Chalk is cheap. They have not awarded any grace from me or any of the... They shouldn't get any from any of the city's community. They have no grace here. You have nothing. The game sucks. Fix it. Fix it. I'm sick of talk. Colossal did a lot of talking, and then they made a pile of shit. Seriously, that dirt pile is more coherent than Cities 2. There's a new developer, Geek. Yeah, they got rid of Colossal Order. Paradox got rid of them. You know why? Because they didn't do anything for like a number of years. And they hired a new one. Now, guys, I'll be honest with you. Firing your developer on a game and then bringing in a new one is usually the kiss of death. So we'll see how this goes. I don't have high hopes. I've been burned by giving time. Like, okay. In 2024 and 2025, actually it's mostly 2024. I actually pre that year, guys. I used to give a lot of, oh, it just needs more time in the oven. They'll get it done. They'll get it done. They'll get it done. Then we got burned from Kerbal and we got burned from Cities. Those are two of my franchise freaking games for this stream that basically flopped. Okay? Thank God we still have Winter Car. Winter Car is fantastic. It's one of the few franchise games that I'm known for playing, right? That doesn't suck. No, I haven't seen it, Chenky. Time to make our own game. That's a good idea. So... Pigeon, I told you they did that right when the game came out, and you said no. You were like, no, it's still good. I'm like, Pigeon, it sucks. Okay. So the point that I'm trying to get at is that I'm done giving them good grace. I don't give a frick what you say. Do it. Stop talking and do it. Okay. Too much of this, too much flapping your yap has ruined two of my profitable gaming ventures, or playing the games. Like they're, ruined KSP. Arguably, arguably it's never recovered. Like, we've played Kerbal, but Kerbal ain't going to get the viewers it got before. I mean, I don't care about that because I like playing KSP, and that's it. But, Cities? Ugh. Yeah, so what stock do I put in it? Not much, dude. Not much. I've been burned, man. Like, look, and it's not just about, EJ caring about the game. Like, obviously I care about the games, but also Cities 2 sucking and then Kerbal sucking really, really destroyed some long-term viability of this stream as a business. I lost a lot of money because of that, dude. All Kerbal 2, all Kerbal 2 had to do was not suck. All it had to do was just be Kerbal 1. All Cities 2 needed to be was just Cities 1 with better graphics. That's it. That's all you had to do. That's it. You didn't need to do anything else. Take all the features of the fully feature complete Cities 1, put them in one game, give it better graphics, and then build off of it from there. That's all you had to do. I'm a consultant on KSA Game Coder. I'm helping them with stuff. So don't worry about that. I love Timberborn. Timberborn's a good one, Pie. But yeah, so do I show any hope for Cities 2? No. No, you don't get any of my grace. Absolutely not. Tell us everything you know. I'll tell you everything I know about KSA in exactly 1 second. Here you go. Did you get all that? Good luck, Nader. I will play KSP again soon. We're just on a winter car kick, dude.
Discovery, go at throttle.
Coder Man, 21-month resub. So yeah, can you spell that? Yeah. No. So yeah, that's where I'm at, Easymoto. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be cynical about it, but it's not that I'm being cynical for no reason. We got burned. We got burned from Cities 2 sucking. We got burned from KSP sucking. That really screwed up my long-term plans for the stream. You know? So, yeah. I'm not going to say that I'm a little bitter about that, but I'm a little bitter about it. I'm a little, yeah, I mean, would that not piss you off? Right? You know, it's just the game that you're known for playing, not to mention your favorite game of all time. Like, would that not piss you off? Even a little? I think that's a valid crash out. You know? Is it a justified crash out, chat? You let me know. But respectfully, frick all of them. Valid crash out? Good. That's what I want to hear. Anyway, let's get back to Starship. So, fellas, I think that Booster 20 is going to be 2 weeks. 2 weeks at best. 19 is out doing cryo. Booster 20 is going to have to be quicker. It's going to have to be faster, and it's going to have to be basically foolproof. In trust we trust. Yep. I have experience with this. It was called Halo 4. Yeah, Halo 4. Dude, I've done enough ranting today, but I could go on an epic tirade about how anything that 343 touches turns to poop. Have you taken a look at Captain of Industry? Captain of Industry looks like a pretty cool game. I'm telling you, dudes, like I said, I was playing Factorio with some friends over the weekend, like off stream, like just to chill, and
Discovery, go at throttle up.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think I'm gonna have to do that. I think we're gonna have to do it. Yeah, I have the Factorio bug. It's not good. It's not good. Dude, I was playing on my buddy's multiplayer server. And I just kind of went off and did my own thing. And then I was sitting there. Before I knew what was going on, it was 5 hours later, and I was thinking about ways to condense and optimize like plate production. It was bad. It was not good. I'm sitting there going, oh yes, if I did this, it was bad. It was bad. My buddy came over and was like, what are you up to? I'm like, nothing, nothing. Ah, you know. He's like, it's like midnight, and I'm like, oh, all right, I gotta go. Crap. What do you think about catching Booster 19 on the first flight of E3? I think they'll do it, Livin. They have enough data on catching the thing. I think they'll be fine. Yeah. Ooh, wait, what was that? Hold up. Back it up. Port Explorer. What do we see drive by here? I saw a big rig. Concrete truck. Oh, nice Western Star. Look at that thing. Oh, yeah. What does that say? Critical lift team? Oh, hell yeah, dude. Let's go. Freaking Western Star with a SpaceX badge on it. Now we're talking. Yeah, okay, sorry. I think they have to catch it, dude. They have to catch that booster. You know why? You got to fly more, and you don't have enough boosters. Remember, guys, like with New Glenn? How when the first New Glenn booster didn't land, and how I told you that screwed up their plans really badly? There you go. Same thing, dude. Yeah, when we've had the benefit in the past, like with everything that they've been doing, they don't have deadlines. Now you got a deadline. That changes the way you do things, doesn't it? Changes the way you think about stuff. You're much less likely to do the iterative testing when you're on a deadline. Which once again goes to show you how absolutely insane the Apollo program actually was, and the fact that it didn't kill more people is kind of nuts. But there you go. Raptor 102 was recently spotted. Andrew, all signs are pointing to SpaceX scaling up with their production line as much as they can without the gigabase. So guess what? Booster 20 is going to come at you 2 weeks. They moved the first section yesterday, you guys, right? They moved it yesterday. That booster's coming in 2 weeks. And that's going to get stacked while 19 gets its engines. And then guess what? In another 2 weeks, I'll bet you 19 shows up out here. I bet you it shows up out here. And while that's going on, 39 is going right to Massey's. Right to that new stand right there. Gazer's got some progress on ship 40. Let me see. Bro. Oh, hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. 2 and Raptor 3154. Probably a couple months. Where's Tower 2? There it is. Where's Jacqueline? That's ship 40. Look at that, dude. Ship 40 is being joined. That's almost, dude. That ship's almost done. I mean, almost done. There's still a ton of processing on it. It still is missing a bunch of plumbing, obviously, but the main structural chassis of the ship is finished. Dare I say, the main fuselage of the ship is finished. Look, there's the 2 eyes up there, and it looks like it's going. Feed me, feed me. Sorry. No, it's not. That's only the second section. Oh, the ground's over here. Okay. So yeah, okay. They're still missing a bunch of components down here. Sorry. I saw that was the grounds down there because of the fence. Yeah, you're right. They still got a little ways to go. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. Important rule suggestion for if you play Factorio on stream. Do a no spoilers run and bonk anyone telling you the correct way to play. Actually, Aqualex, I have a better plan of attack. My plan of attack is going to be to ignore them. If someone comes in and they want to be genuinely helpful, I'm cool with that. But if someone's going to come in and be I can't say that, family friendly. If someone's going to be a family friendly on here, guess what I'm doing? I won't tell the mods to time them out. I'll just tell everybody to ignore them. Or I'll just ignore them. Top of the tank and payload doors are very close. I never realized that. Oh, dude, they're basically right on top. Yeah. Because, yeah, Mutter, if someone's gonna do something like that, if someone's gonna backseat me, you know what they really don't like? When you don't listen to them. They get really mad when you do that. Yeah. My way's right. I don't care. It's my stream. You can't do that. Yes, I can. It's my stream. You can do it right on your stream. Dude, I find that pisses them off even more than being like, oh yeah, I'll do that, and then don't do it. Just be like, nah, I'm not doing that. We're gonna be like Happy Gilmore. We're gonna take no crap from nobody. Remember, we don't take no crap from nobody. No, we don't take no prisoners. No, we don't take no for an answer. Oh, right, we don't take no for an answer. I don't want a balloon animal. Shut up and make it funny, guy. I can't believe how good Pad 2 looks. Are we gonna sit here and stare at it? You ever stare at it? Marvel at its beauty, its genius. Of course, I'm talking about that Super Duty right there, not the pad. And this just looks like a block of cheese. No, I'm just kidding, dude. That's awesome. That thing is so damn cool. And the fact that we got to see it go together is amazing. Also, Yamaha. All right. Shut up, pigeon. Yeah, it's that pad. That pad. That pad looks great. This pad is gone, though. They demolished it. There's a dude I watch who often does the opposite just to spite him. Dino, I was watching a guy stream Red Dead one time, and he got so pissed about people telling him where the best horse was in the game, he went to where the best horse was in the game and then shot it in the head. It's pretty funny, man. Freaking sick, dude. He shot him right in the face. He's like, oh, there he is. And chat's like, no, what are you doing? Butter, was that Bike Man? I think that was Bike Man that did that. That was funny as hell, dude. That made me laugh so hard. It's the best clip I've ever seen, man. Yeah, that was Bike Man. Bike Man's cool. I like that dude. He's been streaming. He's been streaming like as long as I have. Probably more. It was pretty funny, man. Seems a bit extreme. It's Red Dead. You shoot things in Red Dead. It's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But yeah, Pad 2 does look sick. What do you think will happen with Ship 39 in flight? Astronaut guy, I think Ship 39 is going to do everything that they want it to do, to be 100% honest. I think it's going to do and I'm not just, this isn't a bit, I swear. I'm not just saying that to be a contrarian opinion like what I do on Flame Trench. I do like doing that, though. It is fun. I like making Ryan Weber go. Yeah, it's kind of a competition that I have with myself to see how many funny noises I can make Webby say. So look, okay. I think that it's going to work. The reason why I think it's going to work is because I think SpaceX was... Do you remember... So, fellas, I said this a little while ago, but I'll say it again. You guys remember the early parts of the Starship program? So what was the first Starship to really fly? Not with a stack, just the first piece of Starship hardware to fly. There's Starhopper, right? So Starhopper flew, right? What was the ones after that? SN4 was the next thing that flew, right? And then SN5. Did SN6 fly? Nope. Did 7 fly? Did 8 fly? 8 flew. Did 9 fly? 9 did something. 10 flew, almost landed. 11 did something. But note the blanks in the serial numbers here, right? It was 5 and 6, not 4. Yeah, okay, so point still stands. Sorry, I was remembering that off the top of my head. I did pretty good for off the top of my head. 10 flew, landed, and then it reflew. Yeah, exactly. I actually agree with you on 39. Block 3 ship is kind of like the V1, V2 booster. Yeah, this is what I'm getting at, guys. So SpaceX in the past has just not flown certain prototypes. So, okay, after SN11 blew up, right? What was the next Starship to fly? The next one to fly was 15. So what happened to 12, 13, and 14? Well, they scrapped them, right? They scrapped them. And then what happened to 16, 17, and 18? They scrapped those too. What happened to 19? Scrapped that. I think they scrapped. I forget if they scrapped 19. Ship 20 is, I think Ship 20 is the one that's still out there, or is that Ship 21? Right? Yeah, yeah, that's right. SN4 was the one that had the methane backfire on the pad and obliterated itself. I remember that. Yeah. So, hey, parts of SN4 did fly. Technically, I was right. Technically. Right? The point is that there are gaps. There are gaps between flights, right? It is my personal opinion here that SpaceX knew that the Block 2 ship wasn't really going to work well. I'd theorized at the time that Block 2s are kind of redundant. It's kind of a redundant design. I think that the Block 2 design is really just a Block 3 ship that they've kind of like hot rodded to make run with existing Raptors, because they had a lot of Raptor 2s and not enough Raptor 3s, right? I think that what was the Block 2? What was the first Block 2 ship? 29, maybe? I forget. Right? So just like the early parts of the program, there were blanks, right? They skipped. They went from SN11 to SN15 and then to Ship 21 or something. It was the first ship that flew, or Ship 19. It was Ship 33. There you go. Thank you, Ari. The point is that I think that all the Block 2 ships are in another timeline, they would have just scrapped all of them. But since all of those ships were more or less near completion, and they needed to retool the entire assembly line at Star Factory for Block 3 anyway, right? They sent them. They sent them with mitigations, with just an expectation to try to get near orbit, right? Try to get into orbit. And they sent them knowing full well that they were probably going to fail. That's why we saw such crazy tests with those things, right? Like holes in the heat shield. They sent them, I think that that's the biggest reason why they sent them, despite them being quote unquote outdated hardware. The biggest reason why they sent them is to get heat shield data, which objectively was not the smartest idea in hindsight, but it seemed like a good idea at the time, right? So just like in the early parts of the program, they didn't fly the serial numbers in sequence. They went from, Starhopper to SN5, SN6, right? And then SN6 to Ship 8 to SN8. They skipped stuff. Instead of skipping, the Block 2s would have been those skipped numbers, but they flew them anyway to try and get some tile data. Every single one of those Block 2 Starship flight tests was them saying, we need more tile data. We're trying to get data for the tiles. We're trying to get data for the tiles. We're trying to get data for the tiles, right? Make sense? I think the entire Block 2 thing was basically a side quest for SpaceX. It's just supplemental data that you can get. You can get some good flight data if you need to. But, you can learn about reusing boosters, doing the booster catch. It was all just a side quest. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous. People are going to look at me going, yeah, but all right. The big dead giveaway for that with me is that SpaceX kept installing mitigation mechanisms like a fire suppression system on the Block 2 Starships. They did that because they knew it was going to leak. SpaceX doesn't do mitigations. They don't do that. SpaceX just fixes things. They fix the problem. Like, look at the Falcon program. Anytime they had a problem, they just fixed it. They didn't do a mitigation and keep flying, all right? Right? Does that make sense? That was the big thing. That was the big red flag for me. The mitigations. This is just a side quest, dude. Block 3 is Block 3 is your main quest, to speak in like RPG terms. The tile team also really needed data. Exactly. That was the choice. That's why they flew. Spoiled, do you remember a long time ago where Elon was saying after SN15 flew that they might use SN16 as a hypersonic test article? There's your Block 2 program. There you go. They were going to use SN16 as a hypersonic test article to get reentry data. That's the key. That's always been the key. That's the whole reason why the Block 2 program flew. It was just get it to orbit so you could get some reentry data. That's it. That's why they had all those damn tile tests on it. So Block 2 was kill 20 Quillbore. Yes, precisely. Yes. Or kill Murlocs in Menethil Harbor. Who knows what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? No? All right. If you had to Google it, you didn't get it. I know somebody here knows what that means. The knowers know. Thank you, Tim. They do mitigations when the hardware is already built. Once enough problems have been found, they clean sheet it with proper fixes. Repeat. Bingo. Exactly. Phil, they knew that Block 2 was a pile of junk. That's why they just kind of threw stuff at the wall and saw what stuck. Because Block 3 was the real fix. Block 3 is the fix to all the problems. Nerd. Are you drunk, Phenomenon? Are you drunk? So, installing Burning Crusade as you speak. All right, Krasno. Yeah, you get it. All right. So that's my big thing, guys. Block 3 is really going to open up the floodgates. So that's why that was a little bit of a long response. But yeah, that's why Booster 19 or Booster 20 is not going to take very long because they got the design locked in. And what SpaceX is going to be doing over the next couple of months is locking the frick in. Or at least attempting to. You know why? They have to. They said they would have a lunar lander ready by 2028. That's not far away. That's not far away. You got to go, man. This is urgent. Like I said, the game changes when you're under a deadline. You know, you got to go. We got to go, dude. We got to do this. They got to lock the frick in. Okay? Are they building catching towers at Starbase? My guess, one man, is that they would use this pad for a catch. Not that pad. Not that pad. The other one that's over this pad. The one that's over there. 22 months. That's what I'm saying, Oculus. You got it. You have to lock in. If they don't lock in, Blue Origin's gonna freaking land before them. That would be devastating. There's no way SpaceX is going to let that happen. Or at least they will try everything in their power to make sure that doesn't happen. You know, who knows? Fair game. Let's go. Right? I'd say the end of 2028, Marcon. Yeah. Old Pad 1, then why build launch facilities for it? You don't have to build the launch facilities for it right now, one man. You can use it to prototype a ship catch. In fact, I probably would do that. I would do exactly that. Do you think Artemis 3 will be able to launch in 2028 given the length of time between 1 and 2? Yes. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine SpaceX goes IPO and then Blue Origin lands on the moon first? Yeah. Predominant. Dude, I would be remiss not to mention this, but I think the biggest thing that scares me about all this SpaceX IPO, SpaceX merging with XAI, SpaceX potentially merging with Tesla and then IPOing, I think the real thing that scares me the most about that is enshittification. The last thing SpaceX needs is some bonehead nickel and dime MBA that's going to basically maximize profit. That's the last thing our space program needs. And enshittification is not that is in the dictionary. That's not a curse word. It is basically what that means is the service gets crappier over time as a company maximizes profits and minimizes functionality. Take YouTube, for instance. YouTube 10 years ago, right? With YouTube 10 years ago, you had maybe one skippable ad. Okay? Maybe one. Now, the same experience, you get 4 ads in a row. 3 of them are unskippable. And 2 of them are freaking pharmaceutical commercials telling you about your type 1 blah, 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 blurb. That's something that like maybe 0.5% of the population has a sickness, and that fixes that. So that's enshittification. That's terrible. It's the same service as it was, but it's less accessible. I'm worried that could happen. It becomes, and the biggest thing that I'm like about is, what is it? So like, what does enshittification look like with SpaceX? Well, enshittifications looks like Starship not being crew rated, right? And mostly being used for satellite deployment as a satellite deployment mechanism. That's what that looks like. And the whole idea of going to Mars kind of gets put on the back burner, which, yeah, I'm worried about it. I don't think it'll happen, but I would be remiss in not saying it. I would feel weird if I didn't tell you guys what I think. I'm still surprised how Elon is going public with how much he hates Wall Street. Well, spoiled. I looked into a little bit more into how like IPOs can work. You don't have to IPO the entire company. A company can be like a hybrid public-private thing where the majority of the equity, the majority shareholder in the company is still privately owned. You can IPO part of a company. You can IPO a certain percentage of the company. That is a thing that you can do. I'm not a finance bro, dude, so I didn't really know that. I didn't really understand that, but that's something that you can do. And the interesting thing is all these market evaluations, like, 800 billion, 1.2 trillion, blah, 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 blah. If you look at those percentages, those are a percentage of equity in SpaceX, nowhere near controlling stakes. So that's good. That's the good thing. That's the flip side of this conversation. Yes, correct, BeltFed. Yes, exactly. He kind of talked about it in a podcast today, and I think it's based off that they're 100% going public. How much you want to bet that the part is going public is the AI data center stuff? Yes. I really don't think that SpaceX would ever IPO its launch services. That's an extremely bad idea. Can you explain how it might make sense for SpaceX to do orbital data centers? I've been discussing this with my buddy, and I couldn't find any good reason as to why it's useful. Electricity is free. Marcon. Electricity is free. That's the whole idea. Hey, Schmoog, 130 monthly sub. What's up, man? You get hitched or what? Did that happen? Last time we talked, you were telling me about that. You get hitched or what? Can you imagine Bezos buying majority share of SpaceX? I don't think that's a good idea. Hey, Oki. Elon also pointed out there's no one protesting in space. So, Marcon, let me elaborate a little bit because I know people have questions. Okay, you have an orbital data center. First of all, it's decentralized data storage, which could be useful in the event of a cyber attack. Let me put it that way. You're never going to take out the swarm completely, right? So, if you're using cloud storage for an orbital data center, right? So you store your data in the actual cloud. Well, the cloud's up in space, right? But you get the idea, right? Space storage, not cloud. Yeah, exactly. All right. So what are the benefits up there? Like I said, electricity is free. Electricity is free. That's a big one. All right. You can make a bigger solar panel. That ain't no problem. Right? And I know what people are going to say, but, well, EJ, what about all the heat generated from data centers? Bro, electricity is free. Electricity is free. Like, I don't know what to tell. Like, I don't know how to explain that any further. Like, so spacecraft have a problem. The problem is that they're in the vacuum. There is no way to get rid of any heat energy. So if you're up there, like with a spacecraft, and you're in the sun, the temperature is going to go up. On top of all the electronic equipment that you have on board, there's no way to dissipate all that heat, right? There's no way to dissipate all the heat. However, if you make a bigger solar panel and generate more power, and make bigger thermal control loops, you just scale it, which is a fairly linear thing, right? You know, a radiator that's 2 times the surface area is going to cool 2 times as much, right? Like that's pretty linear scale right there. Just build a bigger radiator, build a bigger solar panel. The point that I'm trying to get at, and you know, I don't want to get into splitting hairs, right? I get it. Those have their challenges. Those have their technical challenges, right? But also at the same time, electricity is free. It's free. You just get it from the sun. It's free, and solar power is a lot more efficient up in space because there's not an atmosphere in the way. Like that thermodynamics problem becomes very easy to solve when you have infinite energy. Electricity is free down here with solar. Space data center doesn't make sense. Why isn't everything solar powered then, predominant? Extra power, you don't even need a bigger radiator. You could concentrate that heat more and run the same radiators hotter. There you go. Solar won't cut it. Use a nuke. I think you guys are drastically misunderestimated. You're drastically misunderestimating the amount of power you can generate with a big enough solar panel in space. Solar power is way better up there than it is down here. Like I said, there ain't an atmosphere in the way. That's why everything down here isn't powered by solar. That, and we have things that have way higher energy density that we should be using. You know what I mean. But we don't want to turn it into that, do we? The point is that power is free. Power is free. Okay, it's free. So the way Elon sees it, and once again, you don't have to agree with this. I'm just telling you what's going on. Like this is what he sees. Like there are benefits there. That's not an easy problem to solve, but it is a solvable one. A data center is going to suck up power, and here's the thing: it's really about AI, guys. That's the big one. It's about AI. Now, I don't want to have another conversation about AI. I've voiced my opinion on it. It doesn't really do anything for me. I'm not like flabbergasted by it like I am from a bulldozer. I don't know. Call me a simple-minded person, and you'd probably be right. With that all being said, Elon sees that it's not just about more RAM or more storage, right? There is going to be, the race for AI is basically a bottomless pit. And power generation is going to be a huge demand for computing power in the future to try and make, Grok smarter, right? Or ChatGPT smarter or whatever. It's going to be Grok because this is Elon's idea, right? So the way he sees that is that up in space is an infinite power source. You have infinite power up there. The sun's up there. The sun makes more power than anything. We're not even a freaking little spark compared to the amount of power that the sun can make, right? So a satellite constellation that's up there with solar panels, not to mention that he already has a company that makes a lot of satellites, right? You work on the chip design, you make it a little bit more thermally efficient. Once again, not an easy goal. It's very much an easy goal when your net worth is $800 billion. Bear with me here. Well, it's an easier goal, let's say, right? That becomes a really easy question in your mind. Do you go and try to build a power plant, or do you use the power plant that's up there? Like I said, electricity was free. That's the whole drive behind Elon wanting an orbital data center. Electricity is free. It's free. And he already has a company that makes tons of solar panels. Starlink production is done in-house. He makes solar panels. They make them in, Starlink is in Washington. I think it's in Kent, I think. No, that might be Blue. Blue's there. SpaceX is up there too. But they already make all the solar panels, so just make more. Right? Think about it. It's pretty smart, dude. The question of cooling doesn't become oh my gosh, it's really hard to cool things in space. It's going to be like, man, how cold do you want it? When you have a solar panel, when you have satellites with big honking solar panels that are in higher Earth orbits that are not perpetually eclipsed every 90 minutes from the sun or every 45 minutes from the sun, right? You can generate insane amounts of power. Think about every one of these things with a couple of Tesla batteries attached to it, right? Like you take like Model 3 batteries, just attach that on there to basically work as your uninterrupted power supply for when the thing is being eclipsed. And then you have a cloud storage data network. It's actually really goddamn smart. Like, I have my reservations about it, but now think about, okay, you have a satellite that needs 2 Tesla Model 3 batteries attached to it. What's going to launch that? Well, let's bring this discussion all the way around. That's going to launch that. Is it true that if you are a high enough orbit, you can avoid the shadow? And what height is that? Medium Earth orbit will do it, Milge? Yeah. Guys, you're not thinking fourth dimensionally. Gravity bends light. In a high enough orbit, even when the sun is directly in front of the Earth, you're still going to get planet shine. Einstein proved this. I'm just saying. Anyway, Shmoog, I saw you reply. What's up, dude? Yeah, that happened when it went great. Now I'm a bar manager for a cigar lounge. We've been open a couple months and we keep seeing more people come in. So all things are great. Yeah, I've been doing a winter car kick. But yeah, good, man. I'm glad that everything's going good with you. Right. You got a problem with that. EJ, the Earth is not massive enough to bend light in any meaningful amount. I beg of you to iterate on that. Okay, fine. Just go to a high enough orbit. And I would disagree. On a small scale, Ponzister, it's more than enough. Yeah, it's not a lot, but it'll work. Not going to make that much difference in your orbital period for your orbit, but also Ponzister, I would implore you to shut up. I'm only saying that because I love you, buddy. Yeah, you're right. It's not nearly as much as the sun, right? It's inconsequential comparatively to the sun. But for us mere humans that are just but a wee speck in the sun's eye, it's enough. You should sanction me. Sanction me with your arm. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have an army. Guess that means you need to shut the heck up. That's what I'd do if I didn't have an army. I would shut the heck up. Shut the heck up. Damn. Think I'm going to take crap from chat?
Oh, this is space. I'm in space.
Hey, you got gifted a sub. Right on. Jupiter, on the other hand. Yeah. Anyway. Can we please destroy Mercury and turn it into computers? I think EJ actually means light refraction through the atmosphere. I mean, that can happen too, O-Force. Yeah, the point, the real point that I was trying to drive home with that, and I know gravity bending light isn't the only thing. I get it. The real point I was trying to drive home with it is that that's not that big of a deal. You got your batteries, you got an uninterrupted power supply, you got a big enough solar panel, right? In a high enough orbit, you could use refraction, you could use gravity bending light, or you could just put it high enough where you just don't get eclipsed at all because of how light diffuses through the vacuum, right? Totally doable. And guys, I'm saying this, and I'm not even that big of a fan of the idea. I think this whole AI data center thing could potentially be a distraction for SpaceX, and I don't particularly like that as a spaceflight fan. But it is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool idea. It could work. It's possible. I mostly wanted to pop in and hit my sub notification. I've always believed you've been doing great work educating people on space and science. I love the amount of informed discussion you generate in this community. I've had you back since the start of this wild ride, and I will keep having you back as long as you keep this show going. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. EJ's so cool. There are sometimes stars that should be behind the sun, but aren't because the sunlight is bent around it. Yeah, like I said, Einstein proved that. That's what the theory of relativity is all about, how gravity bends light. Or bends space and time, technically. If it does work, it's an infinite money printer, so there's a benefit for space exploration. Spoiled. Where I'm getting like, is potentially shittification, like I said, but it is a gamble. What if the AI bubble pops? I mean, I suppose it's, I don't like AI, and I'm trying not to let confirmational bias in that, like, influence judgment. But also at the same time, like, even if the AI thing doesn't work, you still have data centers in space that have literally no overhead. They have no overhead, except that you need to launch more, but that's something you're going to launch. You're going to do that anyway, right? Okay, so just don't use the AI part. Now you have a data center that can be accessed anywhere on Earth with direct-to-cell technology. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, that's actually a pretty safe bet. Huh. Interesting. At this point, there's infinite real estate in space. Don't need to negotiate for more land. That's what I mean. You have no overhead. There's no real estate cost to pay. There's no power plant to pay. There's no power company to rely on, right? It means more need for in-space servicing as well. That's right, Rocket. Yeah, you weren't wrong. A fully reusable launch vehicle would be pretty preferable. Damn, I wish we still had the space shuttle. I just had some crazy freaking ideas. Actually, STS would be quite well suited for this. If Starship really takes off, can they also use it to repair MEO satellites instead of just abandoning them? Well, that's what Rocket Guy was just talking about. On satellite on-orbit mission extension, repair, and scavenging. Holy crap, dude. Like, I'm telling you, dude, SpaceX could make a whole business out of taking decrepit satellites out of graveyard orbits. Sending a Starship up to Geo, refueling a Starship a couple times, send a Starship up there with an RMS. Like the shuttle, right? Send it up to high Earth orbit. Just go start grabbing satellites and bring them down to recycle them. There's billions of dollars of platinum, gold, silver up there in old satellites that we don't use. Like, dude, billions. There's a lot of money up there. Not until SpaceX gets a Canadarm there, bud. Oh, yeah. They got to get a Canadarm on there, son. Oh, that'd be great. I don't know, Knucklehead. Do we know if SpaceX is investing in any robotic companies? Careful, I got more weather I can send you, bud. Oh, you guys are already doing that, so I'm going to keep making fun of you as much as I want to. Oh, sorry about that. I'm sorry you hurt your feelings there. What happens when we have an Elon arm? And we don't need a Canada arm. I don't know. They would need to change the Outer Space Treaty so they can grab non-US satellites. But bro, dude, it's billions of dollars in just US satellites up there, dude. Just geostation, just stuff out in geo. Not even like defense satellites, just stuff that's out in geo. Like, the other thing is that, like, you could use Starship to, if a satellite has a malfunction, like the BSS 702MP sat bus that keeps blowing up when they send it up into space. Starship would just go grab that, bring it back down, fix it, send it up again. Just like what they were trying to do with the space shuttle. They did do that in the early 80s before Challenger. They went up there, grabbed a LEO sat, brought it back, NASA brought it back, and then sold it. Legitimate salvage, cowboy. It's happened. Are the USSR sat stages considered unowned? I do believe Russia has the rights to those. They could even recycle Starlinks. Yeah, I don't think they would recycle the swarm. Maybe data center satellites, Haven't read what's big in the NASA reauthorization, but there's an interesting amendment. Amendment to number 16, House Resolution 7273, offered by Representative Self from Texas, passed by voice vote, requires NASA to establish the initial elements of a lunar outpost by December 31st, 2030, reinforcing a sustained U.S. presence and infrastructure on the moon. I'm sorry? They put it into law? No freaking way, dude. Well, this is the House committee, so it's gonna. Oh, please pass this. Oh, yeah, this is just part of a bill. It's a proposal for the Authorization Act. Oh, please have the Senate pass this. Please. Dude, that is a hell of a deadline. Oh, please. That would kick so much ass, man. Excuse my language, sorry. That'd be so sick. Having it in writing means accountability. It means you have to do it. That is a great impetus for actually getting it done. McGregor. Something's on the test stand there. It's in the House bill, but agreed unanimously, so I don't see why the Senate would kill it. Like I said, it's what I've always said, Zach. Congress will always go for a bigger space program. They will always do it, as long as the idea isn't completely bonkers. A moon base by 2028? Permanent lunar presence by 2030? That's not crazy. That's doable. We can absolutely do that. Utica swear jar. All right, yeah, you're right. Did they put money with the authorization? I'm pretty sure, yeah. It's the horizontal raptor. Nice. You can't do that without the EU? Well, you guys make the service modules, so make more of them. Just saying. It's doable, but realistically, will it happen? I don't know, London. I would say that getting it on paper is a good step in the right direction for it actually happening. That was a pretty long burn there. Vertical Raptor. Yeah, I got you, Chris. Thank you. Notice the grindstone. NASA can pull it off. Agreed. I read that there's some bill for NASA to investigate putting the ISS into a graveyard orbit. I wouldn't do that. That is a 400 metric ton piece of debris if you do that. That's not a good idea. That bill also requires NASA to set up a commercial deep space mission set for future Artemis missions, including launch, SLS replacement without SLS replacement. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean SLS is out the door. That doesn't mean that. It sounds like it means that, but it doesn't. Technically, the space shuttle program was commercially operated. Technically. There was a company called United Space Alliance. United Space Alliance was a government contractor that operated the space shuttle on behalf of NASA. Technically, the shuttle was a commercial option. Nobody says that. Nobody talks about that, but technically it was. So, I wouldn't read that nomenclature so much as, oh, they're going to replace SLS. No. What they're most likely going to do is copy what they did during the space shuttle. Once SLS gets, I would guess it's probably going to happen around Artemis 4, if they already haven't done it. I forget if they've done it. I seem to remember them reading that they're doing this. You know, and I know that we see posts from like Eric Berger saying like, oh, they want a commercial option for SLS. No, he's misinterpreting it. They're going to operate SLS commercially to keep costs down because it's more expensive to keep it in-house at NASA, right? So what most likely will happen is NASA and Boeing will spin Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and Lockheed will spin off all of their SLS programs into SLS Incorporated or something, right? SLS Limited Liability Company or whatever. And that will be what operates the whole SLS. But you really only want to do that once you get to like fairly routine missions, like what they were doing with the space shuttle. My guess is that that's what that means. And that's probably what it means by all the, we hear whispers every once in a while that, oh, SLS is going to be used for commercial. Oh my God, there's no place for it in a market. No, what that means is that it's going to be a commercial thing that NASA can buy. Because that's basically what the space shuttle was. Did they do that with Apollo? No. Apollo didn't get that far. The company already exists, Deep Space Transport. Yeah, that's right, Philly. I couldn't remember if it was done already. Deep Space Transport, joint venture between Northrop and Boeing. There you go. How's thoughts on SLS? It starts on page 6. Okay, what do you got for me? Or page 10. Reaffirmation of the Space Launch System. Development and cadence objectives. I wonder what this is about. Support for the full development of capabilities of the Space Launch System is set forth in Section 302C of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration Authorization Act of 2010. I hate that. That is the worst piece of legislation that NASA has ever been put forth. That ever has been put forth to NASA. I hate. That's the one that canceled Constellation. Yeah. I hate that. I hate that Authorization Act. Anyway, let's see. And its commitment to the flight rate of the integrated SLS and Orion crew mission set forth in Section 10812B of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration Authorization Act of 2022. Okay. The administrator shall assess demand for the SLS by entities other than NASA and shall break out such demand according to the federal agency or non-government sector. This assessment may estimate the cost and schedule savings from reduced transit times and the potential for increased returns enabled by unique capabilities of SLS. See, the interesting thing is that's not the same as what I said. That's different. Entities other than NASA and shall break out such demand. The Department of Defense wants SLS for something. Who else could it be, guys? Who else could it be? Seriously, that's DoD stuff. They want to use SLS for DoD stuff. That's very, very interesting to me. Yeah, that's Department of Defense stuff all day. And they want Starship as well. I've spoken to somebody at McGregor Live. That was a Merlin, apparently. Oh, okay, Chris. Thank you. Yeah, Logan. I hope so. Yeah, that's right, Trey. He was with the NASA administrator the other day. Interesting. Department of Energy for the nuclear stuff. That's all over this. Estimate cost and schedule savings from reduced transit times and the potential for increased returns enabled by the unique capabilities of SLS. Describe any barriers or challenges that could impede the Space Launch System by entities other than NASA. And identify potential actions and costs associated with overcoming barriers and challenges described in subparagraph B. No later than 180 days after the date of this enactment, the administrator shall submit to the Appropriations Committee of Congress a report describing the following. Progress towards achieving the flight rate referred to in subsection A1B. Okay, where's that flight rate? Hold on a minute. Crap, it's not here. What kind of flight rate are we talking about here? Isn't this a good sign that the DoD want to take rides for SLS for some cargo payloads? Yes, Wooly, and I was getting to that, but yes, absolutely. If the Department of Defense wants to subsidize more SLS production, that's good for NASA. I don't give a frick what anybody says. That's good. That is good for NASA. That means the cost will come down because you made more of them. And and NASA doesn't need to buy, do a whole block buy by themselves. Roping DoD and your civilian space programs together is not the stupidest decision. We did that with Apollo. The Air Force roped its Gemini manned orbiting laboratory program into the Apollo program. And then the shuttle was a DoD thing too. NASA wouldn't have been able to do the space shuttle by themselves. They had to have the Department of Defense on board, or else it wouldn't have been a thing. So that's not the worst idea. Flight rate from the 2022 authorization. I believe that calls for 2 times a year, Zach, if I'm remembering correctly. The results of the assessment conducted pursuant to subsection A2, human-rated lunar landing capabilities. Congress reaffirms that the Moon to Mars program sets forth in 10811 of the National Authorization shall include human-rated lunar landing systems. Support the development and demonstration and shall obtain human-rated lunar landing capabilities, including lunar ascent capabilities, to further the goals of human exploration roadmap under Section 432 of the Transitional Authorization Act of 2017. That's good. The Transitional Authorization Act of 2017, guys, is the one that put the HLS program on the books. It was part of Space Policy Directive 1 from the current president's first term, I think. It was either that or SPD2. I think SPD1 may have been the Space Force. But yeah, lots of legislation to remember. Ensure that human-rated lunar landing capabilities meet all relevant requirements, including requirements of the Moon to Mars program. Okay. Ensure any commercial provider for which the administrator obtains human-rated lunar landing capabilities is a U.S. commercial provider. Interesting to mention that. So SLS is not the rocket, it's a definition of the NASA space program? No. SLS is its own entity inside of NASA's program. Oh, geez, Nader, that's terrible. In carrying out paragraph 1A, the administrator may include uncrewed lunar landing services, and the administrator shall, subject to the availability of the appropriations for such purpose, seek to obtain such capabilities from not fewer than 2 commercial providers. What the funkin' waggles is that about? Huh. What the heck are they cooking? What's going on? That's weird. Why would you put that there? Yeah, these stones are no good, Nader. Huh. Oh, okay. This is lunar landing capabilities. All right, cool. I figured it out. It's lunar landing capabilities. So 2 commercial providers for lunar landers for redundant dissimilar architecture. That's SpaceX and Blue Origin. All right, cool. I had to put 2 and 2 together. Identifying the contribution over the past 5 years, the planned contribution for 2026 through 2030 of government personnel, expertise, technologies, and infrastructure utilized and to be utilized in support of design, development, and operation of a human lunar landing capability. Okay, they want to see how much NASA is involved with building the landers. Man, that's a lot about address cost, schedule, and performance challenges faced by each commercial provider in development and performance. Oh, man. That's the AXEMU. It's got to work. That's spoiler alert. Title 3 Space Operations, Subtitle A Policy. Okay. That's for clips right there. Yeah. ISS. Non-governmental human missions to the ISS. Okay. Deorbit capabilities. We knew about that. Future activities and other provisions. This is CLIPS. This is the services to send things to commercial space stations once the ISS is gone. Commercial low Earth orbit development. So that's CLEOD. That's good. This is good that this is codified there. This is an ISS replacement, guys. That's important. Yeah, we want this. A lot of people ask me why not build a lunar tracking satellite, a lunar relay network for communications with the moon. There you go. Celestial time standardization. Cool. Bro, they're taking this seriously. This is pretty good, man. Guys, I like what I see here. I mean, I'm kind of glossing over some of it, but I like what I see here. This is good. Yeah. You really, it's got to be SpaceX doing that. It's actually Intuitive Machines that's doing it. Intuitive Machines is building the Lunar Relay Network. Okay, the reason why I like what I see, what really tipped me off is that celestial time thing. All right. Here's what I mean. Celestial time standardization. You would not be thinking about something like that unless you were absolutely seriously contemplating con ops for the moon. What I mean is that time has to be synchronized in space. You have to be synchronized. Like we have a program where we send an Orion out there, and Orion docks with Gateway, and Gateway docks with a lander, and the lander goes down to the surface, and the base has to be synced with the Gateway, which needs to be synced with everything else. This is the kind of stuff you think about when you're pioneering out concept of operations for actually exploring the moon and doing it for a long amount of time. Time standardization is one of those things that you're going to need. You really don't have a choice. That tells me that Congress is for real about this. That's cool, man. Let's see. What time zone did they pick? I'll bet you they picked UTC. It is a sense of Congress that the United States leadership of a sustained presence on the moon and in deep space exploration is important for advancing space science. Okay, yep. Will involve governmental, commercial, academic, and international partners where there is a need for interoperability between systems. The use of coordinated universal time has challenges when used beyond Earth at other celestial bodies due to relativistic effects. You've got to be kidding. Bro, that's sick that they're thinking about this. Oh, that's so cool. Bro, we're getting some star dates up in here, man. Yeah, some of you already know, right? The United States should lead in developing time standardization for the moon and other celestial bodies other than Earth to support interoperability and safe, sustainable operations. Holy shnikes, that's cool. Guys, once again, the fact that we knew, this isn't anything we didn't know, but the fact that that's in an authorization act is awesome. That's really good. That tells me that somebody out there, someone is legislating something and they know what they're talking about. Somebody out there is doing this. And they know at least a little bit about space. You know what? I'll take that. I will take it. That's fine. Good enough. That's fine. Somebody cares. Somebody cares enough to put this in here. You're going to need to use this if we're going to the moon all the time. That is a huge green flag. That's perfect. Development of such a standardization will advance United States leadership in standard setting for global competitiveness and will benefit spacefaring countries and entities. Oh my God. Celestial time standardization. That's sick, dude. Think about that, bro. Captain's log, stardate 23.9, rounded off to the nearest decimal point. I'm sorry, that just made me really happy. That just made me really happy. The fact that that's in an authorization bill is really, really cool, man. That's the kind of stuff you got to think about if you're seriously contemplating going back to the moon. Not just, yeah, we're going to do it sometime soon. No. That's really important to understand that. That's really good, man. Speaking of exploring the moon, remember that time Buzz Aldrin punched a moon landing conspiracy theorist? Bart C. Siebel is his name or something? I really like that. Pow, straight to the moon. Yeah, that's a really nice video to watch. Sagan is worth naming a city after on the moon or Mars. Outpost Sagan does have a good ring to it, man. I will say that. Or Sagan City. That also has a good ring to it. Gonna be looking at this during the trench tomorrow. I think we have a lot of stuff here, dudes. I might mention it as a matter of fact. Carl's shuttle. Saganton. I mean, guys, I'm sorry. Call me old-fashioned. Tranquility City is probably what I'd call the first lunar city. Call me old-fashioned. Sega Genesis. Oh, that's the best name, dude. We should call it that. Neiltown in Aldrin Heights. Yeah. Just Tranquility is fine by itself. What is a lunar city and not a lunar base? A lunar city is, Milge, my big thing with space exploration is that it really gets to colonization when we can fly there and check into a hotel. That's when I think we could start calling it a city. Other than that, just a base. Zach, you know what, dude? I'm not gonna say what you said. Dude, they could call it Bananarama Hotel. I don't give a frick. If we have a moon base, I don't care what it's called. I really don't. You know, if he wants to name it after it, I don't care. Whatever. Whatever, dog. Whatever. That's fine. We could call it Han Banana International Towers on the moon. I don't care. Diamond City. I don't think we should call it that. So, space technology, SBIR phase 2, small business initiatives. Okay. I want to point out, guys, that, like, that's not something we didn't know, that you're going to need to generate power on the moon, but also the fact that this is sitting here in the NASA Authorization Act of 2026 is really cool. Power purchasing agreements, man. What the heck? The private sector development and deployment of lunar surface power capabilities. Bro, NASA's going to have a utility bill on the moon. I don't know. This is pretty good. Zach, now I see why you wanted me to see this. This is pretty good. That's aeronautics. This is the plane stuff. Yeah, didn't like that, Hoagie. Advanced materials and manufacturing. Yeah, that's the aeronautics stuff. We'll get past that. This is the plane stuff. I'm sure it's good. Rolls-Royce announced not long ago they were working on lunar nuclear reactors. Hold up. What's this? Subject to the availability of appropriations for such purpose and taking into consideration the strategy developed under and research conducted pursuant to 1019 of the FAA Reauthorization Act of 2024, the administrator may carry out research on emerging technologies related to hydrogen aviation Was just a list of cities on the moon in Star Trek. Oh, nice, Hokey. Hell yeah. Okay, sorry, I'm just checking my messages here real quick. Cool. Hydrogen aviation. Interesting. Decadal survey for national aeronautics research. Nice. Letting the decadal survey drive your aeronautics division stakeholder expectations is smart. Commercial hypersonics. Maintaining a balanced scientific portfolio. Implementation of science mission cost caps. Okay, that's what Jared Isaacman was saying. You know, have NASA do a lot of smaller scientific missions rather than these big flagship missions that take forever. Re-examination of decadal surveys, Landsat. That's good. That's good that Landsat is in here. So, Landsat is one of NASA's Earth observation satellite constellations. It's used for climate change. So, yeah, to monitor climate change. That's good that that's in here. We want that in here. Private Earth observation data, that's good. Commercial satellite data, that's cool. That means that NASA can tap into that. This is all the stuff that Jared Isaacman said. Good. Agriculture applications for NASA's data, that's great. Planetary science portfolio, planetary defense? Question? Interesting. Lunar discovery and exploration. The administrative... let's see what this is about. May carry out within the Science Mission Directorate a program to accomplish science objectives for the moon with an organization structure that aligns responsibility, authority, and accountability as recommended by the most recent decadal survey for planetary science. Define high-priority lunar scientific objectives informed by decadal surveys and other scientific consensus recommendations and related requirements of an integrated Artemis science strategy for human and robotic missions to the moon. They want to go after the ice. They're going after the ice. That isn't anything we didn't know. Planetary defense was rumored to get axed. This looks like this funds science pretty comprehensively, dude. Yeah, you have to have that extraterrestre bloco. That's right, extraterrestre bloco. Planetary and lunar operations. Ensure continuity of operations and sufficient observation and operation capabilities on and around the moon and Mars necessary to continue to enable a robust science program and human exploration program for the moon and Mars well into the future. Can we have Viper back? Yeah, I hope so. Fellas, okay, all right, what do we got here? The administrator shall, subject to the availability of appropriations, lead a Mars sample return program to enable the return to Earth of scientifically selected samples from the surface of Mars for study in terrestrial laboratories consistent with the recommendations of the National Academic Decadal Surveys for Planetary Science. That sounds like MSR to me. That sounds like real MSR. That's good. Oh, that's fantastic. Here, Dino, I got you. It's a little bit of a long link. This is just the direction on where Congress, on what Congress wants NASA to do. Funding is a separate process. I understand that, DH. Guys, once again, this isn't stuff that's guaranteed to happen, okay? All of these things lead with subject to the availability of appropriations. In DH, I think it's important to, yeah, I'll send it to you, Chris. I got you. I'll link it up in YouTube chat. I think it's important to understand this. This is just what Congress wants to do. However, this doesn't mean that it necessarily will happen. However, I'm noticing two things, okay? One, this is all really good stuff, which tells me that Congress, at least in this application, doesn't have their head completely up their tail. All right? That's a huge deal when it comes to getting spaceflight stuff done. Two, a lot of this is exactly what Rook said he wanted to do. A lot of this is exactly what he said he wanted to do, almost to a T. Okay? That's a big deal because that means we are in a seemingly very rare scenario where what NASA wants to do and what Congress wants to do is mutual. That is the same thing. The last time this happened, we put people on the moon. Okay? This is a very perfect storm of goodness. This is good. This is what we want. That is... Are you playing Winter Car after this? I'm bugging out for a few hours. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do after this. I'll figure it out. Yeah, so, like, once again, this isn't guaranteed. All this stuff isn't guaranteed to happen. But the fact that it's here tells me that Congress wants to do it. Second part of that is, once again, this is all the stuff that Rook was talking about. So, guys, they see eye to eye on it. NASA and Congress are seeing eye to eye on what they want to do, and this is all good stuff. Like I said, last time this happened, we put 6 American flags on the friggin' moon. Okay? This is good stuff. We need good news. This is good news. Okay? Okay, let me see what the stipulations are on MSR. The administrator shall pursue program in subsection A on a timeline and in a manner necessary to United States leadership and scientific exploration, NASA capabilities to land and operate robotic spacecraft on the surface of Mars, preserve relevant and unique long-term institutional expertise, and maintain a balanced and robust planetary science division portfolio without requiring significant increases to the NASA budget. Implementation plan. Here we go. Administrator shall, as soon as practicable, and no later than 180 days after the date of enactment of this act, transmit to the appropriate committees of Congress a plan and timeline for the implementation of a Mars sample return pursuant to this section with the goal of enabling the highest scientific return for the resources invested. Such plan shall include design and mission architecture and established realistic cost and schedule estimates to enable such a goal. Good. It's in writing. To your point, Zach, okay, what are you saying? To your point, as an employee of a member of the Appropriations Committee, this bill says Congress can fund this, but NASA is the type of thing where the appropriators are happy to defer to the authorizers. Zach, I think it'll go through. I really honestly and truly think the Senate will pass this. And I won't say it. Let's just say there's some heavy hitters in the U.S. Senate that are really pro-spaceflight from Texas. And we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that and we'll just keep going. Hubble Space Telescope servicing. Not later than 90 days from the date of the enactment of this act, the administrator shall submit to the Appropriations Committee of Congress full copies of any study conducted in the last 5 years regarding the technical feasibility of safely reboosting the Hubble Space Telescope, including any such studies regarding the technical feasibility of using private sector capabilities. Holy shnikes. EJ, question. Tag me, Phonesister. That's why I always miss your messages, dude. You gotta tag me. I'm dealing with 2 chats, man. Remember that. Could we do that for the moon? A GPS for the moon? Yeah, sure. Could it be helpful to use with timekeep? Could it be helpful with timekeeping? Yeah, absolutely. There's House science and Senate science. They have their stuff through House Appropriates and Senate Appropriations. That's what I mean about deferring. It is much safer than something like welfare, military, whatever. Yeah, Zach. I just once again, I think this is. I think things are going to happen. Well, what this says, guys, is to have Congress inform Congress of any types of reboosting strategies. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. Great observatories, mission and technology maturation. Oh, that's cool. Nancy Grace Roman, that's on the books. Heliophysics research, so the sun. Commercial space weather data. Yep, that's what Rook talked about. Geospace Dynamics Constellation. The Geospace Dynamics Constellation mission could enable scientific discoveries that will transform the understanding of the processes that govern the dynamics of the Earth's upper atmospheric envelope that surrounds and protects the planet. Interesting. I'm not familiar with that. Wildfire mitigation. Cool. I'm just trying to get through this okay, the STEM education stuff is cool. We know that's good. There's a lot of good stuff in this, guys. I really hope that goes through. That would be really good. I'm only trying to go through it because I still have more space news for you. So we'll get through the rest of the quick space news and we'll go from there. Can you imagine bridging those things together? Michael X, that'd be pretty cool. All right. So, I got a couple more small news stories too, but that Authorization Act is cool. Thanks for talking about it. Of course, man. Let's just hope, let's cross our fingers that it goes through. I think it will for what it's worth, Zach. I really do. All right, so this is coming from ULA. Exciting news. RS rocket ship is offloading a Vulcan rocket. This marks the historic first arrival of a Vulcan rocket at Vandenberg Space Force Base in advance of a future government mission from the West Coast. All right. Cool. And Centaur. Neato. All right. Vandenberg. Vulcan at Vandenberg, that's big. Space Launch Complex 3, which is where Vulcan launches from. They launch from Slick 3E. It's down the street from SpaceX's Slick 4E launch site. ULA has been retooling it for Vulcan over the past couple of years. And that's the first one to head out there. It's a Vulcan and a Centaur as well, for what it's worth. That's actually really cool. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting spy satellites. Someone has a nice view on top of the hill. Bro, I will say it once, I'll say it again. This part of Southern California is one of the prettiest parts of the country by a long shot. It's like Amalfi Coast pretty. We're talking northwest of Los Angeles, up here. So that dock where they're loading is right. Please hold. Right there. I have no idea what that house is used for, but there it is. Wait, can we street view this? Please. No. I wish. New start expired, and you're kidding yourself if you don't think this is big. New start, the strategic arms reduction treat. Ooh. Can I just go back to talking about how Southern California is pretty? Can we just go back here? Like, just here. Let's go over here. Let's look at this road. This road is nice. Look at that, man. Oh. Well, I tell you what, boys and girls, that's the thing about us cowpokes. We take it as it comes. So you guys want to play Fallout? We should play Fallout. Anybody want to play Fallout? Now, what we have here is a very small drop in a very large bucket of drugs. You liked the second season, didn't you? Yeah, it's pretty good, man. Yeah, I'll admit it. It's pretty good. There's a couple of lore things here and there, Ernok, but Ernok, I know you liked the finale. I ain't going to say nothing, but I know you liked the finale. The very end, I know you like that. Maybe we'll do a New Vegas playthrough. The lore of Fallout has always been fluid. Yep. No spoilers, dudes. I always have a 2-month statute of limitations on spoilers. 2-month blackout period. After 2 months, it's your own damn fault if you didn't watch it. You saw it by accident, Chris? Oh, no. They did the thing. They did the thing. They did the thing. It's just like the thing. That's awesome. It was pretty cool. I'll admit, I was sitting there going, oh, damn. You know, I'm like, that's the... I did the Leo thing. I'm like, you know, it's pretty cool. Anyway. Yeah, that part of Southern California is very pretty. This is where Vandenberg is. And the reason why there's no street view down there at the loading dock is because it's part of Vandenberg Space Force Base. So if you guys look, Vandenberg is basically all of this. It's basically all here. And all up here. Vandenberg is actually gigantic. It's all of this. Like, it's bigger than KSC, if you really want to know. Yeah, you're cruising along the Pacific coast, and all of a sudden the road just turns, and you're like, well, I've driven the 97 up this road, and I will tell you, it is a very pretty road. These pictures don't do it justice, man. They just don't do it justice. Not even close. You could take a train that goes right through it. Yeah, that's the weird part. There's even a train station next to the launch pads, dude. I'm not even kidding. The Pacific Surfliner, the train track goes right past that ramp that they were loading Vulcan off at. What is this? Is that a campground? Oh, wow. Huh. There's just a random campground out here? Bro. That's Yamala Beach? Oh, this is sick, dude. Brother. Don't tell me it's a nudist beach. No, okay. If it's a nudist beach, I'm turning around. Look at this road. This is great. Oh, look at this road. It's got a concrete and signs in the sky. It's a public beach. That's crazy, dude. Yeah, the tracks seem to go around it. Yeah, see, there's Slick 6. That's an old shuttle launch pad that they never used. And then there's Slick 4 and there's Slick 3. And then up here, Slick 2, where Firefly launches from, is over here. It's that one right there. And then there's just a lot of missile silos up here that they use for testing ICBMs. And we won't talk anymore about that. And then Hot Rod Ranch is over here. And then the train station too. Lompoc Surf is right there. There's a random freaking train station that's accessible on public roads, and it's closed during launches, but you could see Slick 4 and Slick 3 from it. You could see Falcon 9's, SpaceX and Falcon 9's launch pad. You could see ULA's launch pad right there. You could see it from the train station. Some of them are, Pigeon. They're used for missile testing. Yeah, that's Lompoc Surf. That's just a random freaking train station in the middle of nowhere on a Space Force base. And it goes to Lompoc. Okay, Nader. And then Vandenberg Space Force Base proper is up here. Pretty big base, dude. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Could have been bigger if they decided to fly the shuttle from it, but that didn't happen because they suck. If Slick 6 was used for the shuttle, how would you get the external tank up there? That's what that dock was built for. Man. Now, in this shot, you could see SpaceX offloading fairings there. Another test from McGregor, huh? Jeez. This dock was built during the shuttle program. It was built during the shuttle program. You don't notice how it's just conveniently external tank sized and shaped? And then down here, if you go, what is this, Santa Barbara, I think? It's near Point Magoo. Is it this one? Hold on, let me take a look. Yes, right here. Note that there's this gigantic facility right here. And the gigantic facility has a bunch of weird gantry cranes that go through buildings. And then also an SRB-shaped recovery basin. It's because during the shuttle missions that were going to fly out of Vandenberg, they would have towed the SRBs back here. And then this is an SRB safing and processing, an ex-SRB safing and processing facility. Note how it connects into the rail line so they could ship the casing back to Ogden, Utah. Yeah, that's what they wanted to do. That would have been really cool if that happened, but the Air Force got cold feet and pulled out of the shuttle program in 1986 after Challenger. Oh, that's Oxnard. Santa Barbara's over here. No, is it? I forget. This stretch of road also very beautiful. This is the Pacific Coast Highway. The Pacific Coast Highway at Point Magoo. I can't talk. This is NAS Point Magoo right here. This road is just if you've played GTA 5, you've been on this road. This is the road that's around Chumash. This is what inspired it. This road is awesome. This Pacific Coast Highway, one of my favorite roads in the whole U.S., dude. Where do they hold the Catalina wine mixer? Well, on Catalina Island. Used to ride PCH all the time. Hell yeah. Catalina wine mixer is on Catalina Island. Southern Californians, how expensive is it to live here? Is it one of those, if you have to ask, you probably can't afford it type things? Stupid expensive? Yes. All right, cool. Just wondering. Less than the Bay? Go south to Camp Pendleton, your old stomping grounds. What, Bob? You've, how many times you stomped around here? If you have to ask, you'll never know. Yeah, okay, cool. RAF Macaronish. Chris, apologies. Your feet remember this well? All right, cool. That's what I was wondering. Yeah, that's the United States Marine Corps' West Recruitment Depot Parade Grounds. MCRD, Marine Corps Recruitment Depot. That's the west one. The other one's so this is Pendleton. The other one's Parris Island. East and west of the Mississippi, right? If I'm remembering correctly. I don't know. I'm not a jarhead. I'll eat crayons with you, though, dude, if you want. And Pendleton is all this right here. Oh, yeah, there you go. Watch the planes fly away. That's the old shuttle emergency landing site. All right. One last thing about the shuttle, and then we got a little more space news coming from ULA. Yep, that's definitely a shuttle emergency contingent landing site. You could tell because they extended the runway. I'll bet you that's 15,000 feet. Well, they shortened it from, let's check, if your threshold is here. Oh, that's only a 10,000 foot runway. The shuttle would have had a hard time landing on this. It probably would have wound up in this ditch over here. 10,000 feet is not, that's short for the space shuttle. But yeah, you could definitely tell that they had the runway extended at some point for shuttle missions. Did you already cover Blue Origin killing New Shepard? Yeah, I did talk about that in a previous space news, yeah. 10,000. Yeah, 10,000 feet, 3,000 meter. Yep. Here, I got a little bit more news coming from ULA. Check this out. So, United Launch Alliance is now in the final preparations for our next Vulcan launch with the attachment of the SF-87 payload to the rocket. So, this is back over at the Cape. Here, they're stacking a Space Force payload, the SF-87 payload. Now, there's something you don't see every day. Where did this payload come from? We won't know the answer to that question. But this is outside of Kennedy Space Center. That's the road that goes to Titusville. I forget its name. Oh, it's Astrotech. Okay, got it. That makes more sense. It's privileged information. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, guys, this is a public highway. So that means these people were just driving down this road and saw a rocket part just roll by. These are public roads. Any word from Das or Chris B? They both can't do it, Fluffy. No one's around, man. It might just be me and Sawyer. I sent out a couple more feelers to more people, but yeah, not. Yeah. Yep. Invite Brendan Herrera? I don't think he knows enough about spaceflight to be on a flame trench. Yeah, you're talking about flame trench. Yes, I am. Hey, guys, there's only so many feelers I can put out in 24 hours. I'll see. We'll look into it, okay? Here, more news. This is coming from Vast. So Vast launch a little while back. They launched the Haven demo, which was a technology demonstrator for their Haven 1 space station module that they're working on. Now, Haven 1 is not going to launch until, I think it's late this year or maybe next year, early next year. But the Haven 1 demo has successfully completed its initial perigee lowering maneuver to demonstrate the spacecraft's ability to perform a controlled deorbit. The spacecraft engaged its orbiter maneuvering thruster for approximately 14 minutes, lowering perigee by 170. Interesting. It's not just big, it's vast. Brendan Herrera would Odd Flame Trench would be amazing and horrible. I mean, I just feel like it would just devolve into a conversation about firearms. Like, I'm sure someone would find that useful, right? But also, that's not what Flame Trench is about. Like, it was a joke. Yeah, there's the thruster firing. Bro. That's cool. So the Haven demo is probably going to deorbit soon. Snibbles, you're talking about this picture, right? That's NASA's emergency response team guarding the perimeter, the blast detonation area perimeter for the Artemis 2 stack. Yeah, that's pretty rad. That's a pretty cool picture. That's a pretty good picture, man. Show them the older one. Show them the older one. All right. This was ERT back in the shuttle days. Homeboy's got a dual mag MP5. And he looks like the goddamn sheriff. That's freaking sick, dude. That's so good, man. Oh, man. That's pretty sick. What iron does he have? What does he got there? I don't know, but he's got a bipod on it. I can't really tell what that is. It's too dark. It's some type of AR-5 or AR derivative. Yeah, it's probably an M4. I would guess an M4A1. This is why we need a Predator on. Hey, I need you to tell me what's on this. Yeah, right. It's a URGI M4. Yeah, the night vision goggles, I know. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. That's even cooler, though. You wish you were that cool. Dude's just toting around an MP5 with dual mags. I love it. That's sick. With a freaking space shuttle in the background. I don't hate that, man. All right, we got another thing from ESAR here. ESAR is expanding their capabilities. We're expanding testing capabilities. ESAR Aerospace is building a second test site to support our Spectrum rocket ramp-up. This new facility will enable integrated engine and stage testing, moving us closer to truly scalable space access. Cool. We're building another test stand. That's neat. Maybe, launch something before you start scaling. If I were him, I would feel outgunned. Oh, jeez. Oh, that's cool, Milge. Neat. We didn't have the gold camo. Tim Dodd? Tim's... I don't want to do that. Not yet, at least. And now check this out, guys. Blue Moon Mark 1 is being rolled for testing at Johnson Space Center. It's actually there, and it's actually arrived inside of its little motorhome thing. Build the facilities, and the rockets will naturally appear. NASA Johnson. Dare, unite, explore, meet, innovation, money. I don't even know what the frick I'm reading. I wonder what the gosh dang thing is. Sorry, suddenly Winnebago, man. You can always see if Rick wants to join Flame Trench. I do not have that type of pull. Yet. Johnson. All right. I think we've had enough space news. Was that a good space news? We did a good space news. That was a good one. Talked about a lot of good stuff. Do they have a big enough facility for Starship to be tested there? At Johnson? No. That's why they built that's why they built Boca Chica. It's down the street from it. And when I say down the street, I mean about an 8-hour drive. But that's still in Texas. 8-hour drive for Texans is nothing. That's nothing. It's like going down the street. Tori Bruno has a new hat. Oh, yeah, you guys, all right. You guys wanted to see that. All right. Okay. Tori Bruno has a new hard hat. His new hard hat doesn't have a United Launch Alliance photo on it. ULA logo on it. It has Blue's feather, which seems like it's just crudely pasted onto his hat. Anyway, what do we have here? That looks like Blue Ring. What do we have over here? Ooh, Trident. Nice. What do we got over there? What's that? What is all this? What is this? Nice. I think that's a Trident missile, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, those are pretty cool. Where's the Sabaton merch? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, Tori Bruno posted that. He works in Blue's defense program. President of Blue National Security, Blue Origin, rocket scientist, horseman, and proud Cal Poly alumni. Tori Bruno's cool. We like him. It is his famous cowboy hard hat, because that's the thing about them cowpokes. They take it as it comes. I don't think so. Tridents are solid. Those look liquid, no? Just because it has multiple nozzles doesn't mean it's a liquid. ULA, what is a dead end? I don't believe him for leaving. I don't blame him for leaving. I'm going to say it's Thor Able. No, too many nozzles to be Thor Able. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it's an early Trident. It's Trident A1. Yeah, Trident A1, A2, and A3. Yep, that's what that was. The one that flies now is the D5, and the D5 will really make whoever's on the receiving end of it very unhappy. Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment of what a Trident D5 does? I think that's right. I'm pretty sure that it was apt. That was a good explanation. Whoever's on the receiving end of that will, I hope you like glass blowing, because everything's going to turn to glass. They won't be very unhappy for long. Yeah. Yeah. You know, you see that thing coming down, dude. It's just like taking a picture. Just smile and wait for the flash. Smile, just smile, wait for the flash. Oh, wow, that's really pretty. All right, cool. Guess I'll die now. I'm kidding. Just a little bit of dark humor. Like I said, that's the thing about them cowpokes. We take it as it comes. Fallout reference. Put a picture up in your Discord of a Thor rocket. Chris, I've touched a Thor missile. Does that help? Oh, a PGM-17. I've touched one of those. Yeah, not in a museum either. Don't ask. Hey, I like that Atlas that's right next to it too. Actually, no, that's not Atlas. Too many stringers. Yeah, the Thor IRBM, dude. Predecessor of the Delta rocket. You're always touching things. What can I say? I'm not good at reading. It says do not touch, and I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Do not hump. I would not hump the missile. No, that could be bad. If you build up some static electricity, it could end very poorly. You can touch a redstone next time you go to Pima. It just went on display. I gotta go back down there, dude. I gotta get the boys in the resto hangers contact again, dude. Apparently they liked us. So bro, I got to hug an LR87. Hey, Von Reich, 34-month resub. All right, guys.
Go at throttle up.
And on that bombshell, I think that's it for Space News. What do you guys want to do? I was thinking Battlefield for After Hours, but we've been sitting here talking about Fallout. Oh, man. Do you guys want to play New Vegas playthrough? Does anybody even care? Like, get it, you're steely-eyed missile man. Yeah. Factorio? Oh, God. My winter car. I already played winter car today. So, like, here's the thing, dudes. I have a meeting at 10 tonight, so we only have a couple hours. Fallout. New Vegas. Really? Okay. I don't even know if I have Fallout installed. Fallout New Vegas, that is. I don't, but it shouldn't take very long. That's what I was afraid of, Aqualex. I can't play Factorio right now. If we play Factorio, I'm missing that meeting. So, what does EJ want to play? Kind of want to play Battlefield. Yeah. That was at the Leicester Space Museum. We had an NSF meetup there. It was a mock-up of Soyuz. There was a mock-up of Soyuz with some training vehicle there, too. Cool. Yeah, try not to rage challenge for Battlefield. I can do that. Much rather BF6 than Fallout, and I don't like Battlefield. All right. I do want to play New Vegas, though. Dean, would you be down for a New Vegas playthrough eventually at some point? Maybe? Kind of like Fallout 4 more, though, dudes. Fallout 4 is more my jam because you can build stuff. Can we get a Titan update? Titan is 100% healthy, dudes. Yeah, he's good. He's fine. He really likes that I play with him more now. He's like, wait, we can do that still? I'm like, yeah, we can do that. Let's go, dog. New Vegas has a spring game? Yeah, maybe. What's the thing about us cowboy? We take it as it comes. Have you seen the mod A Tale of Two Wastelands? I've heard about it, Rarest, but never played it. Is Titan stun? Oh, he's freaking stun. He's a freaking stun dog. I'll stick around for it. I was never big on that series. Fair. Yeah, no, FPS ain't for everybody, dude. I get that. All right, we'll play a couple of games of Battlefield, and then I'll go off to my meeting. But don't worry, Winter Car and everything else isn't going anywhere, guys. Yeah. Oh, Fallout New Vegas is done. So we have that, too. Yeah, we're going to play Winter Car again tomorrow. And then I believe we have Flame Trench, and then I do believe we are doing a... we have the community race at Daytona tomorrow night. Never played New Vegas, so I'd like to watch a playthrough. All right. Yeah, we have the Daytona race tomorrow. We're only doing 2 Friday night races this year, guys. It's just this and Le Mans for right now. Yeah, I kind of pulled the plug on FNR. Not enough people were showing up for it to really be fun. And that's fine. It's okay. It's okay. That's how it is. But anyway, I don't like RimWorld. Pisses me off, dude. It pushes my buttons too much. But anyway, all right, we'll play some Battlefield, wind down here for the night. That's going to do it for Space News. I'll see you guys in a second. On YouTube, stand by for loss of signal. Twitch, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.